Professor, how are you?
I'm good, man. But no sounds, yeah? I'm talking about the other, go sitting. People sweating, like trying to touch one to the light, yeah? Like...
So they'd rather have a small toilet, more mats, right?
Alright, guys. Guys, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed the session. Let's see you next one. Like some people, they come here, they say here is the Mecca of Jiu-Jitsu in Europe, you know? So that's big names always come here to prepare themselves to tournaments. No-gi is a big part of Jiu-Jitsu, and you two guys being like the new cut, or the new group, the new people coming up, you coming strong. They represent this new styles coming up from Jiu-Jitsu, because before you just translate the gi to no-gi. So now you guys been studying, getting new techniques, a different way to do no-gi, and it's actually no-gi is interesting to watch. Before was like two big guys trying to take down one to the other, holding. So now it's cool to watch. Man, I expect the best. You know, the boys, they train hard. You know, they put a show on. So there's no other way to then go there and then hold back. It's fight. They go to kill. They're gonna go there they're gonna be there to do a show.
I'm finally healthy, and I'm actually able to do one of these promo things that I'm always unable to do. I had this ringworm that made me skip 2 months of training, which was probably one of the longest 2 months I have ever experienced. But now I'm back finally healthy, and I can continue training. Very healthy, good. I can keep jiu-jitsu consistent now. I've been back for 2 weeks. Looking forward to the end of the month where I can finally go back into competing. I'm just one of those average guys who enjoy jiu-jitsu too much that they are willing to test themselves on competition stage, not just on the mats in training. Before arriving here in London, I used to live there. I used to have a job there. Very simple and easy to make tuna pizza. So let's begin. For the start, we're gonna have to open the canned tuna and drain it of all its water. How come I bought this kind of tuna? There, that's where I actually found jiu-jitsu, and I never stopped training it, unless I get it ringworm. I was a model. I had some modeling jobs there and across Asia, so I was living there. And because jiu-jitsu has no strikes, I was able to keep my face acceptable. I was slightly bored. I needed new challenges, and martial arts, jiu-jitsu especially, was that challenging hobby that caught my eye and piqued my interest. In jiu-jitsu, you're able to actually go all out. Your opponent can go all out on you without actually inflicting serious damage unless it's some freak accident. So I enjoyed that violent, friendly expression, let's say. Coming to Rogers was one of the big reasons why I moved here from China, so I can train here and get better at jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Before here, I was doing most of my training in China, yeah, and other places around Asia, some a little bit in Europe, but now this is my permanent home, I would say, as of this moment. If that's what Jawad thinks, yeah, I guess I did. It was not only a debut, but it was also the first time in a long time that I came back to competing, and because after the pandemic, before the pandemic, we didn't have because we had the COVID thing. It was a very long layoff, and just coming back to competing was great. The first knee bar, I think, was purely luck, because I don't even know how I pulled it off. Second knee bar, I think, was due to the fact that the cage was small, and we ended up by the fence. So he didn't really have anywhere to go, and that the leg was just there for me. Actually, I am not a leg locker. I am not that good at them. Usually I'm the one that gets leg locked all the time. So I guess that's how I caught one finally. But no, that is not a big, strong factor in my game. Well, wrestlers are always tough. And as I am not a wrestler, I find it's gonna be a tough match for me. And I will have to have my conditioning at its peak to keep up with him. I know that he got third place at the last Alpha Grappling, and that I was supposed to fight him as well in my first match, but because I had to pull out, I didn't get that chance. So it's good that we get a chance to actually fight. I like this best out of 3, because in case you lose the first one, the first round is always the hardest. So if you manage to get out of the first round, second is always easier, and then hopefully we won't have to go to the third round. But I really enjoy that, the chance to fight as much times as possible. Because he's a wrestler, I see it being points, I see it being a submission somehow, some way, but I know that it's gonna be a tough matchup. That I know for sure. Tune in to Alpha Grapplings at the end of the month. We're putting up a lot of shows this year that will be exciting, and hopefully we'll have more and more events in the future.
I'm known as the best looking grappler in the world. I'm famous for my long hair, good looks, and my pink rash guard. Everyone thinks I'm a complete piss taker, but deep down, I'm a lovely human being. I love jiu-jitsu. From being a professional athlete and football player, now having jiu-jitsu to sort of like take over the reins of why I'm training, something to really focus my mind on and develop, is something that I needed in my life massively when I stopped playing football. And other than that, I'm a personal trainer to the stars, and I'm just enjoying life. I've got a lovely fiance who drives me up the wall, I've got a beautiful dog, and then I've got my friends outside of the academy and also my friends on the inside of the academy. So other than that, I mean, the weather can get a bit warmer, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to get as many shows in, try and get into as many promotions, win as many fights, compete as much as I can, because that really makes a difference when you go to the Worlds, the Europeans. The difference can be how much you're competing, opponents you're competing against, and the rule sets you're competing against. So I'm trying to be as versatile as I am. Sometimes I compete in my category level because I'm a blue belt, just because if I do the Worlds at blue belt, I can't do most of the things I can in the elite level. So it's a good way to condition my body into all rule sets. I'm going to try and do 1 to 2 tournaments a month. Hopefully they're not in the middle of nowhere, and because I'm actually relatively heavy for my size, it's quite hard finding people in the right weight category. So sometimes I'm having to go in a heavier category and then fight heavier people, which I don't mind doing, but as long as I'm competing, that's all that really matters. Do you know what? I'll tell you exactly what brought me to martial arts. I was on a stag do in Mexico, Tulum, and we were all partying, like, not going to say what we were doing, but you know, and my friend's older brother, my friend and his brother had always been doing jiu-jitsu. So he was always like, come on, let's have a wrestling match, let's have a wrestling match. I was like, I don't want to have a wrestling match. Like, I knew he'd done jiu-jitsu, I just didn't want to like go for it. And all my friends were like, that are my age, were like, no, do it. So I was like, fuck it, do you know what? Let's fucking wrestle. So we had a wrestling match in this like sand pit in this beautiful villa, and he was a purple belt. So it was the first time I slipped and fist bumped, and as soon as we'd done that, he tried to neck and collar tie me. I slipped him, threw him on the floor and rear naked choked him. And from that moment, I went back to the UK, joined Roger Gracie's Academy, and I never really looked back. And once you get better at something and you start to enjoy it more, and you sort of see it more of like, not a profession, but sort of like a reason to keep training. And that's the most important for me. As long as I keep learning and I keep educating myself and I keep enjoying it, then I'll carry on doing it as long as I can. Like, the grading system doesn't really matter to me. It's like, you're as good as you're ever going to be as long as you put the effort and time in. And that's what I hope for in martial arts. And also the discipline. I used to be a little bit of a wild child, fighting and stuff when I was younger. But now doing jiu-jitsu, like, understanding situations a lot more. And I think it does help you in life massively. I've trained in gyms all over London. And weirdly enough, even though it's not a no-gi academy, the standard we have here is very, very high. And we also get some good visitors coming in. But of course, it's not the most prestigious no-gi, but a few of us here who are taking the no-gi scene very seriously now, we're hoping to change that. And with learning ourselves, with the coaches, they're trying to learn as much as possible because, of course, they're transitioning from gi to no-gi. But everyone here is super humble, from black belt to white belt to brown belt to purple belt. Everyone's just trying to learn, everyone's trying to get better. And the atmosphere here is really something that I'd advise people to come down and check it out. Whether you want to do gi or no gi, Roger Gracie Academy is a really good home for jiu-jitsu overall. We were at a little, excuse my French, shitty little gym by Latimer Road. It was rank. The walls was sweat. It would stink, and I was paying the same amount there than I is now. So now you come into this academy, it's like sitting in a Rolls Royce being in this academy compared to the old one. So yeah, this academy is probably one of the most nicely aesthetically pleasing, and of course we get all the Brazilians that we can have a laugh with and make fun of. And there's always a rivalry here between the gi and the no gi. They call us the sweaty, stinky boys, and I don't want to tell you what we call them, but it's a lot more profound than their insult.
Great.
Do you know what? I've always wanted to get on a promotion. I've always wanted to showcase it, and I think with my attitude, with my character, with my skill set, with my work rate, it's always going to make for an exciting fight. I'm a bit different on the mats. Like, I like to joke about, I like to take the piss. Everyone else thinks I'm a lunatic. So I like to bring that on the mat. I like to have some talking while we're scrapping. I like to make funny comments when we're doing interviews, especially when we're fighting. I like to talk to my opponents. I was literally in a tournament the other day, and I was mounted on an opponent, and I kept going, "Stop giving me your neck! Stop giving me your neck!" And he kept giving me his bloody neck, so one of the guys had to guillotine him. But yeah, overall, I'm glad that he puts me on the promotion. I'm hoping I can get more views in and open the word of like jiu-jitsu, and especially my journey in jiu-jitsu. And other than that, it's a good stepping stone to maybe hopefully get on like Polaris or Grapple Fest. But at the moment, I'm happy winning and working with Alpha Grappling, and I think it's an amazing promotion, and the work rate that they're doing, and especially the funding that they're putting in it. Like, it's not earning loads of money, but it will do with time and effort, and like organically, that's exactly what will happen. It'll become one of the main promotions in the UK. Do you know what? I was struggling to get into the normal classes while we were here, because most of us we train in the afternoon, but I was only able to make like the 7, 8 or the 8 a.m. no-gi class, which it had basically didn't have the highest standard. But what the coaches and what the other pupils done for me is they just like shark tanked me. I was doing 9-minute rounds, 3 minutes, every 3 minutes, different person. And I knew going into that fight, it was my perfect weight. Going into that fight, he was never going to outwork me. He's a brilliant athlete, Matea. He's a brilliant athlete. But I knew what his game plan would be, and I knew my leg lock defense was probably one of the best I've seen anyway. And I knew my conditioning and my work rate would always outwork him. So going into it, I felt very, very comfortable, and afterwards, I felt amazing as well, and I thought it was well-deserved. I thought it was a brilliant fight, but I thought it was a well-deserved victory. My work rate, from being a professional footballer to now performing in jiu-jitsu, I've always had that 4th, 5th, 6th gear. Like when you think like you're gonna fatigue, I can literally just keep pushing and pushing through. And that's what my plan is in all my fights. To like push through, I can change it, I can come up, I can play guard, I can reserve my energy, and then I can just explode. And when I do, they obviously feel it as well. If you can outwork them and you can outpace them and you can just always apply that pressure, they're gonna fold it some way. And if they can't get you in one of the leg locks, they can't get you in a submission, it just frustrates them more and more and more. And as the more you frustrate them, the more they open up. The more they open up, the more chance you have of submission. And that's when you go for the win. Mate, everything's easy. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, I'm gonna eat no matter what. If he wants to stand up and wrestle, stand up and wrestle. If he wants to sit and play guard, by all means sit and play guard. Remember, we're in a cage now, so there's not much space to run. Unlike the last grappling, which you saw, out of bounds, it's a reset. Now, there is no out of bounds. So if I'm wrestling up and I'm wrestling against you, you're stuck there, Khabib style. I'm looking forward to it. I think he'll be a good competitor. I'm glad he's being given an opportunity to come on the show, and hopefully he can talk the talk and walk the walk, and hopefully it'll be an exciting fight. Like with Matea, we've known each other, we knew it was going to be an exciting fight. I was even messaging before, like we've got to make this like WWF, joking around. And it actually was like WWF as well, like throwing each other in crowds. But with this one, now they can contain it a little bit more with the cage. It's going to be aggression, a lot of talk in the ring. I'm going to try and make it exciting for the viewers. But what I'll try and do, I might win one, let him win one, and leave it to the third, just so I can get a good run out. But no, of course, I love the best of three, because it gives you, it's like rock paper scissors, isn't it? Rock paper scissors makes it much more even. I'm not too sure about the scoring, but I'm always looking to dominate, submission, attack, and hopefully if I win the two matches and I win 2-0, so be it. If he wants to go for a third one and I've won 2-0, I'll let him go for a third one. I'm down to just grapple as much as possible and put on a show for everyone. I'm going to stand up, I'm going to be working on my wrestling. So I'm going to stand up, wrestle, use the cage, wrestle with the cage, and just go try and pressure pass, get onto that back, and then take the back and hopefully go for the strangles a few times. Show my versatility a little bit. Freddie Barker, best looking geezer in grappling, worldwide baby. Woo!